AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Matt?
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. By the way, I saw Larry Holder at Endymion Saturday.
Did you see the kid?
Did not. Was watching Gwen Stefani. I was walking back to my table, and a guy was walking right in my path. It was Uncle Larry.
Love Uncle Larry.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time if you're working. Glad you're driving home with us, or if you're just hanging out on this Mardi Gras day. Happy Mardi Gras, y'all. Thanks for being here with us. Friday, just as we were about to go off air, there was some breaking news from Matt Zenitz, Pete Nakos, several of the usuals around college football. It looked like LSU was going to lose a staff member. Zenitz reported that, and here was the tweet from Friday, the Commanders are expected to hire LSU safeties coach Jake Olsen. Then noting he worked at LSU the past 2 seasons and all that sort of stuff. It is important to note verbiage, which is oftentimes very important. In that instance, Zenitz was saying that the Commanders were expected to hire Jake Olsen. Pete Nakos also had a report with similar verbiage that they were working to hire. The Commanders were working to hire Jake Olsen. Can tell you that here was the tweet from Nakos. Commanders working to hire LSU safeties coach Jake Olsen. So nobody reported that it was done. Nobody reported that it was accepted. There was no signed deal. And then I can tell you that Saturday, while Lane Kiffin was the Grand Marshal of Endymion, Blake Baker, Jake Olsen were riding in Endymion. I know because Blake Baker tried to pummel me with a bag of beats. Shout out, though. Great stuff in that bag. I mean, we're talking like Endymion socks. There was like a little toy horse in there as well. Tons of little blinky, flashy beads, some stuffed animals. I mean, your guy hooked it up, had my meta glasses on, so I actually recorded it with Baker. I told him, I texted him, I was like, hey, man, hope that clipped wing, you can get it to me. We're about 3 tables deep. But he got it there. Shout out. All that to say, as of Saturday, they were still negotiating, meaning Olsen and the Commanders. It was not done. And then we learned a day later that Olsen will, in fact, be returning to LSU. And I asked, Verge Osbury was here with us earlier in the show, and I asked him, if the Commanders had actually offered Olsen the job or if they were just in loose conversations. And Verge confirmed that Olsen had the opportunity to take this job and LSU stepped up.
Yes, he was offered the position, and we had to do some things to make sure that we retain him. And he was important to Blake and on the defense side of the ball, and we was able to keep him. And one thing, I'm talking to Jake. Jake said, Verge, I want to be here and I want to win national championships, and this is the place we could do it.
So remember, this is why I think this is important if you track this lineage, and I'll get to the safety spot here in a second. So remember, Jake Olsen, who's from North Dakota, but had spent time working at schools all over Louisiana, and still a relatively young coach. But Jake Olsen was at LSU as a defensive analyst in 2021, working with the linebackers under linebackers coach Blake Baker. Remember, that season in 2021, Durante Jones was the defensive coordinator. Well, Durante Jones is now the defensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. So Dan Quinn hires Durante Jones. Durante's filling out his defensive staff there in Washington, and he reaches out to Jake Olsen, who was on that staff as a defensive analyst back in 2021. Well, Blake Baker's not retained by Brian Kelly. Baker becomes the DC at Missouri. Baker brings with him Jake Olsen, makes Olsen his linebackers coach there for 2 seasons at Missouri. Well, Brian Kelly hires Blake Baker, and what does Baker do? He brings Olsen with him to coach safeties, as Baker was working with the linebackers. So Verge said it there, and it's a pretty clear indication. Blake Baker has brought Jake Olsen with him, hired him here at LSU as his defensive analyst with linebackers, brought him with Missouri to coach with him to Missouri to coach linebackers, then brought him back to LSU to coach safeties, and now has worked hard to retain him to keep Jake Olsen from going to the NFL with the Washington Commanders, reuniting with Durante Jones. One of my favorite sayings I use all the time is actions speak louder than words. If Blake Baker keeps dragging Jake Olsen with him everywhere, and then when the NFL tries to hire him away and Baker and LSU go to work to retain him, to keep him from the NFL, that should speak volumes. Like, if you value Blake Baker, which I think most LSU fans do, and they understand the value that Baker adds, and a lot wish that he had never been let go and maybe had been the defensive coordinator when Brian Kelly got hired in 2022. And who knows, maybe they win a national championship in 23 with Jaden Daniels if that's the case. Don't know. But all that to say, if you trust Blake Baker, his defensive staff, his scheme, his eye for talent, coaching, hiring staff, everything, and he keeps bringing Jake Olsen with him and working hard to retain him, that speaks volumes about Olsen. Now, in 2024, when Baker came back, it was his first year as the DC. That was, in my opinion, the worst safety play I've seen in my time watching LSU. And this is a program that at safety has produced first-round picks like LaRon Landry and Jamal Adams and Eric Reed and Thorpe winners like Grant Delpit. And we can go down the list. There's been incredible safety play at LSU over the years. 2024 was as bad a safety play as I can remember. Talked about it with Brian Kelly throughout that season. I'm not laying that squarely at the feet of Jake Olsen. I mean, your safeties were Sage Ryan, Jordan Gilbert, who was basically playing with one arm, by the way. Remember, and I'm not putting all that on Jordan. Jordan had a dislocated shoulder. He was basically playing with one arm, and after the season had shoulder surgery. And then you had Major Burns playing the star. Not surprisingly, you fast forward a year, and you bring in A.J. Halsey, Tamarcus Cooley via the portal. Deshaun Spears is a year older, and Harold Perkins is back off of injury playing the star, and all of a sudden, your safety play improves dramatically. Breaking news, coaches do way better when they have better players. It's just kind of a thing that happens. So I'm not giving Jake Olsen all the blame for 2024. He doesn't get all the credit for the improvement in 2025, but the truth lies somewhere in between. And the reality is Blake Baker values Jake Olsen so much so that they went to work to keep him away from the NFL. That's a cosign that's good enough for me. Shea Dixon was here earlier with us and talked about the job that Jake Olsen has done in recruiting as well, and how they identified Ty Benefield as the guy they wanted at safety in this transfer portal window out of Boise. They were like all in, and they went and got him. And they went and got Fahim Delane, Mansour's younger brother from Ohio State, who was at Ohio State for 1 year. Now it kind of builds the pipeline behind Benefield and Tamarcus Cooley and Deshaun Spears for 2027 and beyond. So I like what they've done to rebuild that room after 24, which was just a really bad year. And Jake Olsen's a big part of that. How much longer do you have him? I don't know. Eventually Blake Baker's going to get a head coaching job, and it would stand to reason that Blake Baker would probably bring Jake Olsen with him wherever he goes, maybe as his DC. I don't know how that would look, but this feels like an all-in year for LSU, considering the financial investment in the roster and what they're paying Kiffin, what they paid their staff for retention of Blake Baker, Charlie Weiss to keep him away from the NFL. Like, if you're all in, you might as well be all the way in all phases. Roster, staff, support staff, shadow staff, recruiting staff, front office, all of it. They are, and this is another illustration of it with LSU retaining Jake Olsen here for 2026. I would have been fascinated to see, had Olsen left, what they would have done. Because I do not suspect, maybe they would have added someone to help with safeties. But with Chris Kiffin holding the co-DC title, my suspicion is he would have been one of the 10 full-time on-field staffers that could recruit off campus. But so much of it now is just, that really is the only differentiator when you look at the 10 full-time on-field staffers and everything else from analysts and support staff and all that personnel, because everybody can coach on the field. Everybody can recruit on campus now. Everybody can work with players and film and all that sort of stuff. The only differentiator of your full 10-time full-time staffers, your 10 full-time staffers, is that they can recruit off campus. And my suspicion is that Chris Kiffin would have filled that role had Jake Olsen left. It would have been interesting, though, would they have blended corners and safeties under Corey Raymond, or would they have added a safeties coach to keep them separated? I don't know what they would have done, but we may eventually get that answer if Jake Olsen leaves for the NFL, for somewhere eventually with Blake Baker, who might become a head coach or whatever the case may be. But we won't find out here in the short term because Jake Olsen staying at LSU for 2026. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gents, if you screwed up Valentine's Day, which was Saturday, not too late for a makeup or an apology gift. Lee Michaels can help with 9 locations all over Louisiana. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, online, lmfj.com, lmfj.com, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. You can search so much of their inventory there at the website. Maybe you're looking for a beautiful diamond engagement ring. Maybe you're getting close to popping the question. As the spring comes along, weather gets nicer, maybe love in the air, and you're nearing that time to pop the question. Go to Lee Michaels. Whatever you're looking for in whatever price point, they'll have it. If they don't have it, they'll find it. They can't find it, they'll make it. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gents, thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry and experience the Lee Michaels experience at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Happy Mardi Gras, y'all. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Couple things that I do want to get to. The Saints are being projected to land a free agent running back, a name, this is the first I've heard of this one. I want to get to that here in a smidge. We've got some details of what the Big Ten is now presenting and what they want to see as a 24-team college football playoff and a special anniversary I'm excited to tell you about in about 15 minutes. So stay with us here on AFR.
After Further Review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark in the Renaissance. Of course, it's Mardi Gras Day. I'm telling you, man, you catching parades around Mardi Gras, go stay downtown at Watermark Baton Rouge. Now, Mardi Gras is over, but maybe now you're starting to think about that great home football schedule in the fall. Or maybe you have friends or relatives or clients coming in at some time during the spring for an LSU baseball series. Or maybe it's you who you live out of town, you watch or listen on YouTube or podcast, and you're coming in town for a baseball series. Stay downtown at Watermark Baton Rouge. It is Baton Rouge's premier luxury hotel. Not me saying it. You all voted Watermark best hotel in the best of 225. It's awesome. A gorgeous hotel property with so much historical significance in downtown Baton Rouge. The Gregory, a phenomenal upscale dining experience right there in the lobby. The lobby bar is outstanding. A great place to host any type of event. It's downtown at Watermark Baton Rouge. Check them out. It's Watermark Baton Rouge.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Well, she ain't into cars or pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer, man, her eyes light up. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
It's Mardi Gras. Guess what's pulling all them floats? This is where you could talk.
I didn't know if that was rhetorical. John Deere tractors are pulling all of those floats.
Yes, John
Every
Deere
one of
tractors are pulling all those floats. You better believe it. I mean, what else would you trust to pull double-decker, 3-tiered floats with hundreds of riders and thousands of pounds of beads and other throws? Better be a Deere. By the way, they also sell small construction equipment. It's not just lawnmowers and ag. I mean, they do that, of course, better than anyone. It's Sunshine. Your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Happy Mardi Gras from Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Green and gold, it's colors. Just a little purple on there. You got Mardi Gras colors. Coincidence? Pfft, I think not. It probably is, actually, just a little bit of a coincidence. But, we'll keep it this way. I feel like as we approach the NFL draft, I'm going to fight a lot of you. I don't think this is going to stop because a lot of you really want the Saints to draft Jeremiah Love, 8th overall, and I really do not want the Saints to draft Jeremiah Love, 8th overall. And it is not an anti-Jeremiah Love sentiment. It is an anti-drafting a running back in the top 10 sentiment. There has been a devaluation of the running back position in the NFL in the last decade plus. And you can point to Saquon, who was a top 10 pick, but Saquon was a top 10 pick of the Giants. He didn't help them win. Only when he went to the Eagles did he help them win. And he went to the best roster in football. Ashton Genty, top 10 pick last year of the Raiders, who were the worst team in the NFL and are picking first overall. But that's not Genty's fault. Yes, it was not Genty's fault. He also did not elevate them past them being the worst team in the NFL. Thus, the devaluation of the running back position. You can find talented running backs outside of round one in free agency. The Saints had a productive back in Audric Estime off the street at the end of the season last year. I'm not telling you that's the ideal way to do it. You would love it if Kendre Miller was a more productive guy that you'd use the third-round pick on. That just hasn't been the case. But could Devin Neal as a sixth-round pick become a productive player? Sure. I just don't want to use the 8th overall pick on a running back. And it was interesting because ESPN.com ranked the top 50 NFL free agents and then projected the best landing spot for each of them. And 49th on the list, they had a running back that they projected to land with the New Orleans Saints. And it's Kenneth Gainwell, who spent the first 4 years of his career with the Philadelphia Eagles. And then this past year was in Pittsburgh with the Steelers, where he had a career year in Pittsburgh. So of Gainwell, they write the best fit being New Orleans. And here's the quick 2-sentence write-up. Given the uncertainty of running back Alvin Kamara's future in New Orleans, the team could bring in Gainwell. In Coach Kellen Moore's offense, Gainwell can be a change of pace runner, and he has the receiving traits to create numbers as an outlet for quarterback Tyler Shuck. Gainwell caught a career-high 73 passes and was vital on third downs for Pittsburgh last season. A little bit of the bio for Gainwell. And by the way, if someone like Breece Hall were a realistic option, I'd prefer Breece Hall. But let me illustrate why Gainwell is a sensible option. So Gainwell would make a lot of sense for New Orleans. This continues to underscore my point. Why you do not draft Jeremiah Love at 8. Gainwell is 26 years old. Again, a young professional, a young veteran. So he's not a rookie. He's not over the hill. He's got 5 years of NFL experience. And he was a fifth-round pick of Philadelphia coming out of Memphis back in 2021. In 5 seasons, he's missed one game. 5 seasons in the NFL, he's missed one game. What's the best ability? Availability. Kenneth Gainwell has stayed healthy. Who has not stayed healthy? Alvin Kamara. So you have a 26-year-old, still very much in his physical prime, has been durable, missed one game in 5 seasons. That was his rookie season, by the way. Oh, by the way, he also played in 2024 for the team that drafted him, Philadelphia, under offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, who is now Saints head coach Kellen Moore. A lot of familiarity. That season, he had 75 carries for 290 yards and just 16 catches for 116 yards. Why? Saquon Barkley. He was playing behind Saquon Barkley, who ran for 2,000 yards. But for the fact that he sat out the final week of the regular season, would have set the NFL single-season rushing record. He had limited reps, but because he was playing behind Saquon Barkley throughout his career, he still has a lot of tread on the tires. He has only had, in his NFL career, has Gainwell, 394 career rushing attempts. And he averages 4.5 yards a carry. You heard, as we talked about there, this past season, his one season in Pittsburgh, he caught 73 passes. He had a career year in Pittsburgh where he had 114 rushing attempts, over 500 yards, averaged nearly 5 yards a carry. Prior to this season, the most rushing attempts he had in a season was just 84. So a guy that experienced a greater workload, but still has plenty of tread on the tire. And then you look at what it could potentially cost. And this isn't necessarily the thing that should be gospel, but it's a good gauge, right? So Spotrac puts out their market value as they draw a comp based on age and skill set and productivity and all that stuff. And they put a market value number on these players that are going to be free agents. Well, for Kenneth Gainwell, they project him having a market value of $3 million per year. A 2-year, $5.9 million contract is what they project. So, again, follow me here, all right? You're talking about a guy that's 26, only has fewer than 400 career rushing attempts, has been super productive in his limited opportunities, has played in Kellen Moore's offense before, and could cost you roughly $3 million a year over 2 seasons. That is a better option than using the 8th pick of the draft on a running back. Minimize your risk and look for a boom potential guy with the 8th pick at a position you can't get a boom potential guy outside of the top 10. Like, covet the fact that you have the 8th pick in the draft, which doesn't happen all the time. The Saints went a lot of years making the playoffs, which is way more ideal, in the Breeze era, where you were always picking in the 20s. And sometimes you had to reach for guys that you didn't have a first-round grade on. And so what did the Saints do? Instead of staying there and drafting guys, they traded up to get guys that they had a first-round grade on. And more often than not, you ended up with Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport and Trevor Penning. This is an opportunity to stay where you are and draft someone who you feel is the best in this draft at their position that you're not going to be able to get value outside of the top 10. So give me Kenneth Gainwell with Alvin Kamara and keep Audric Estime around, and you've still got Devin Neal. Like, you've got options. I mean, we could still talk about Kendra Miller if you want, but the point is, like, you've got options at running back there to find a way to piece it together behind a really good young quarterback. A lot of y'all like Chris Olave a lot. I like him as a number 2. But go get me a true number 1 receiver. Or give me a lockdown number 1 corner, which you're not going to find outside of the top 10. That's what I would like to see New Orleans do. Go sign Kenneth Gainwell. Pair him with Alvin Kamara. Draft me a dynamic wide receiver, cornerback, edge rusher, something like that. I know a lot of y'all disagree. We're going to fight about this until the draft, and we'll see what they do. And I fear what they're going to do is take the running back. I don't want them to do that. And I'm going to spend a lot of time between now and the draft explaining why. Over and again, why I don't want them to do that. But I don't think Mickey is going to call or text me and ask me my opinion on the matter. All right, it's after further review. Hey, we're brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Windows door siding, oh yeah, they do shutters too. And now, indoor shades. Check them out at reliefwindows.com. It's really cool. Whenever you go to the website, you'll see right there at the top of the page at reliefwindows.com, the tabs right there at the top. It'll say windows, doors, siding, shutters, shades. So whichever you're interested in, just pick one, and you'll see all the info there. You can see pictures, all the different options that they have. They have financing available. You know what's amazing about Relief Windows, though? And I literally don't know a single other contractor in any industry that does this. But Relief Windows will not take a down payment. They won't. Brandon takes 100% of the financial risk up front. Like, he will not take $1 from you. None. They do not want a deposit. They will not take a down payment. They will not take money from you until they're done and you're thrilled. It's just a different level of customer service that you experience whenever you use Relief Windows. Brandon says it all the time. It's his name. It's his legacy. It's what people say about you, how they remember you. And you want to do right by people. That matters to Brandon Holly. And so it matters to everyone in that business because that's how he runs his business and has since they opened their doors. It's why I am proud to endorse Relief Windows and will be proud to endorse them for as long as they give me the privilege. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades too. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Been a really good show. Jimmy will be here for Autolocks. Actually, Jimmy was off today. Would you please text him to make sure that he's still going to be good for Autolocks today? Let's see if we have Autolocks up at the website. I don't know if Hunt posted it yet. I know we had one play yesterday. It was a college basketball play. But I'm trying to see if Hunt's got the play up at the website yet. Anyway, LouisianaSports.net is where Autolocks is always posted, even if Jimmy can't join us on the show. If he can, great. We'll do that in about 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, a special anniversary today that I would like to share with you, and some detail around the Big Ten's proposal for a 24-team college football playoff. You know where I stand on that. But we'll talk about it next on AFR.
AFR.
If you're thinking of selling your home, call Darren James. Get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. I was over talking to my buddy Gabe Guerrero at Goodwood last week, and he was telling me, like, he and his wife have a young family, growing family, and maybe looking for a little more space. And he was asking me last week, he's like, hey, man, I hear you talk about Darren James. Is that like home sale thing for real? I was like, yes, it's 100% real. It's his, as he calls it, the guaranteed sale program. Darren will look at market data. He'll sit down with you. He'll explain. And you will agree to a price and a deadline. If Darren doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash, or he'll sell it absolutely free. What do you got to lose? Get your home sold. Get moving with your life. Call Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She likes the way it's pulling while we're tilling up her land. She's even kind of crazy.
The Big Ten late last week began circulating a document, leaking, call it what you want, leaking it everywhere, to lay out what a 24-team college football playoff would look like. It would include eliminating conference championship games, which I'm very much in favor of. And it would include a 23+1 selection model and an additional weekend of on-campus college football playoff home games. I don't know why people would be opposed to this. I know the argument is you're watering down the regular season. I think actually the exact opposite would happen. You'd have a more compelling regular season because you would have more teams engaged deeper into the season. And I know what this counter argument looks like, which is always to say, well, do you really want a 3 or 4 loss team in the college football playoff? Well, what are your 3 or 4 losses? I mean, not all teams are created equal. Not all losses are the same. You know, if you're in the SEC, I mean, we could look at teams this year. Like, Texas is a great example. Vanderbilt's a great example. Vanderbilt was a 10-2 team, didn't get in. Would I have liked to have seen Diego Pavia in the college football playoff? Yes. And I can't help but think about Texas losing the opener to Ohio State and not getting in the playoff because they were 9-3. And so I know the argument that people say is, well, don't lose the game. Okay. There's always the risk of losing a game when you play it. But what you're effectively doing is saying, okay, well, Indiana a year before was 11-1, and played a garbage schedule and got in the playoff because they were 11-1. Now, Indiana this year was outstanding. They won the national championship and very deserving. But remember, Indiana canceled a future home and home with Virginia. Virginia, who's a good team in the ACC, but this isn't a power program. But Indiana canceled their series with Virginia to schedule a directional state U. How does that serve the fans of college football? That's bad. Like, the net result of what is happening, Verge Osbury was with us last hour and pointed out the last 3 national champions from the Big Ten, none of them played a Power 4 non-conference opponent. So his point was, well, why are we doing that? Why are we choosing to make our schedule harder? As a fan, can we all agree? Like, you would rather see LSU open up with Clemson than South Carolina State? Of course you would. Like, we want to see better games, but not at the risk of costing your team a shot at a championship. So how do you see better games and still give your team an opportunity to play for a championship? Well, then what are the benefits? Well, now you're playing for seeding. A home game on campus or traveling, like, that's what you could be playing for in November, maybe if you have 2 losses. Like, that matters immensely. A game in Tiger Stadium or going to Eugene or South Bend, yeah. You can't argue that it's going to water down the regular season. It's going to make it more relevant for teams later into the season, as opposed to you lose 2 games and then, oh, well, are we going to the CarQuest Bowl? Are we going to the Mayo Bowl? Are we going to the Pop-Tart Bowl that guys are going to opt out of and nobody's going to care? No. Give me more games of value. So if they go to 24, I'd be over the moon. Look, 4 was better than 2. 12 is better than 4. 16 is better than 12. 24 is better than 16. Where does it end? I don't know. Probably there. You want to get to 32? I'd be good with that too. Give me more football. Give me more quality, meaningful games and less LSU against Nichols and LSU against Louisiana Tech and LSU against Southern and LSU against Grambling and LSU against fill in the blank, whoever, Western Kentucky, that nobody wants to see. I was in Tiger Stadium for that game in November, the first game I'd been to since 2018. That was the most dreadful Tiger Stadium experience of my life. And I was there when LSU lost to Southern Miss in 1994. I was there when they lost to UAB in 2000. Like, that was the most dreadful everything associated with an LSU home football game. Give me things that matter. Greg Sankey continues to say, this was Greg Sankey on the Rich Eisen show, that he thinks 16 is the number.
When we've talked as a league, we think the move to 16 is the next right step. That provides 11 at-larges. It honors conference champions. And I do expect there's going to be a lot of stress about the low-ranked conference champions that are in this thing right now because they've displaced some much more highly ranked teams. That's the point of controversy. And so I do think we have to continue to adapt. Our league has said 16 is the right next step, whether we can agree upon that or not. As a group in the College Football Playoff Management Committee, that remains to be seen.
By the way, what the Big Ten is proposing in their 23+1 model is the top 23 teams, and then 1 spot guaranteed for a G6. Okay. No automatic berths, no guarantees for leagues, just the top 23 teams, and then 1 gifted spot to a garbage program that nobody actually wants to see. But that's what they have to do to appease the small programs that nobody wants to see. That's a true meritocracy, except for the 1 spot for the garbage program that nobody wants to see. Yes, please. I'll take that. Another 2 weeks of on-campus home playoff games? Yes, please. Who's opposed to this? It's illogical to try to make an argument to the contrary. So, this is an odd one where I side with the Big Ten. Like, if you give me my druthers, which would I prefer? I would prefer the Big Ten model. The 23+1, no guaranteed berths, get rid of conference championship games, 2 weekends of on-campus playoff games. Give me that. Sankey's lobbying for 16, but these sides couldn't agree, so we're stuck at 12 for at least another year. We'll see where it goes. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Evermore. Man, I'm going to tell y'all, honest goodness, true story. So yesterday, Parish, we had the balcony at Avenue Pub in New Orleans for Orpheus. We've done that several years now. It's awesome. It's great for our company, our all of us who work together, our families all get together. But you better believe I brought a big 64-ounce bottle of Evermore. I had my backpack, and I threw a 64-ounce bottle of Evermore in that mug because I knew I was going to maybe have a glass of brown water or two. Smoked a beautiful premium Brocock Brothers cigar as well. You better stay hydrated, man. You out there on that parade route, you forget. Weather gets a little chilly. You think, you forget because you're not sweating. You don't think you need to hydrate. You need to hydrate. Drink Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. Drink it every day. You should as well. Get it at great local retailers. If you can't find it, order it online, evermore.com. Ask for it by name, evermore.com. EVAMOR, evermore.com. Okay, final break of the show's coming up, y'all. Been a great show. Jimmy will be here for Autolocks. Before we get out and get to Autolocks, I would like to say a quick thank you because today, February the 17th, is the 16th anniversary of this show. AFR debuted on February the 17th, 2010. So 16 years ago, we started this thing, and they haven't kicked me out yet, which is kind of crazy. It is very atypical. I very much understand it, to stay in one place for as long as I have. This is a very transient business, but I wouldn't still be doing this show if I didn't love what I got to do every day, which is talk about teams I love. Love the company I work for, and Guarantee Media I would put up against literally any media company in the country because of their commitment to their people, being live and local, in an industry where you consistently see jobs being cut, people being laid off, downsizing. Our company is doing the opposite. We keep investing in people and growing live and local. I love being here. So I love the Foster family and Gordy and everybody. And the other two components of that are our sponsors, who are the ones who continue to allow me to do this. I say it all the time. Like, I know a paywall model is one way of doing business. That is one economic model, to put up a paywall. I'm allergic to that. I never want to charge for content. What that means is you have to have great business owners that support what you do and are willing to partner with you, which is why I'm so thankful for all of our sponsors who have been great partners of ours here for 16 years. Some of them, like Darren James and Kelly over at South Point Volkswagen, and I don't want to start naming names, but who have been with us for the entire time. And then ones who've been for longer than a decade, like Brandon Holly and Relief Windows, and our friends at Shaw Bills. And my goodness, I'm starting naming names, but I'm so grateful to all of our partners and our sponsors who allow us to do this. And then mostly, of course, all of you, because if you all didn't come back and listen and watch every day, I'm literally just a guy in a room talking to myself. Well, actually, I'd be in a guy room talking to Moose and Paulie. And they, I think, get very sick of listening to me talk because they're the only two humans who have to listen to every word I say, except for Moose, because he pretty much tunes me out 86% of the time.
It's not true.
87?
It's not true.
88.
I thought you started at 88.
I said 86.
Oh.
Then I went to 87. Then
So you went higher. No.
86, 87, 88?
No.
89?
Maybe like 45 to 50.
Oh, I overshot it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I feel like my number's probably a little more accurate. Anyway, but sincerely, thank you. I'm not leaving. I ain't leaving. I can't say.
You can't do the real quote.
Yeah, I ain't leaving.
Because then you might be leaving.
You're not getting rid of me. I got news for you, Coach. I ain't going nowhere. Like, my wife don't ever want to leave, and I don't want to do anything else. So I'm never leaving. I mean, until y'all decide I stink and y'all don't want to listen anymore and nobody wants to sponsor the show, I ain't never leaving. So 16 years. Let's make it 16 more. All right, Autolocks is next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Talk about great people that we're partnered with. River City's 1 Hour Air, Matt Rick, Paul Ragusa. They're first connected with Jim years ago and Matt and Paul now on the day-to-day, handling the operations, the marketing, and they've been awesome people, man. It's so easy to endorse them. The amount of times that I'm a part of their maintenance club. I practice what I preach, and I don't call Matt or Paul when I need something. I call 752-0001 the same way that you do, because they treat me the same way that they would treat everybody else, which is awesome. They'll have technicians come out to do a great job at a fair price. They're on time, or you don't pay a dime. They do what they say. It's why they got thousands of 5-star Google reviews. Check them out. River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on this Mardi Gras edition of AFR, presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
You Otter. What up?
What's up, Matthew?
Just waiting for King Sucrose to come back.
He'll be back tomorrow. Mañana. Ash Wednesday, baby.
If you've
Yes,
never
indeed.
seen the photo of Charles Handegriff as King Sucrose, it's just a one of one. I mean, it is so epic. When he was what parade was that?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. Ethan was he wrote on the back of the float, Ethan was about 7, something like that.
It's been a good 10 years at least,
Yeah. At least 10 years ago.
Yeah, so good. I mean, all full up with the scepter and the crown and makeup and the wig and all of it, man. The whole nine. Good.
Matt, I grew up in the Mardi Gras balls as a kid in New Orleans, okay? I never had so much fun as that King of Sucrose ball and parade in Franklin at the Hanson Memorial Gym. I mean, I laughed for 36 hours straight. I mean, that crap was the best. It was the best.
So good.
It was the best.
Oh, man.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Let's get to it, man.
Yep.
We got a lot of them today.
All right.
Key injuries for North Carolina. Not only Caleb Wilson, but one of their starting bigs, out tonight as well. I think the Wolfpack, they can't afford another home loss here. Lost the lead late, lose by 1 against Miami on Saturday. They'd be creeping toward the bubble, and you don't want any favors from the committee when you come into Will Wade. So NC State minus the 6.5 there. It's climbing though.
It's 8.5 now.
Though. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd bet it much smaller now. I would buy it to 6.5.
Okay.
Kentucky and Georgia. Georgia needs a win. Another team, and it's a soft bubble, but they are creeping toward that bubble. Paul Stone actually predicts they're not going to be able to make it. Kentucky, we think they're going to be competitive on the road here. They get blown out by double digits against Oklahoma, who's hot, by the way. We're taking a 7.5 in Rupp against Kentucky. Taking SMU plus 3.5 at home. I'd like them to win the game tonight, so we're going to take any points there, plus 3.5 with the Ponies.
It's 4.5 now, by the way.
There you go. Oh, we have more on. Have more on it.
Not doing that.
Yes, indeed. Texas Tech, we usually court storm fade. Well, it's one of the biggest wins of the season on the road at Arizona in overtime. An Auburn win at Florida. Wisconsin's won at Michigan and Illinois. One of the top 5 wins in college basketball. Usually don't like to fade the hangover here. I think Texas Tech is starting to get it going right now. Bobby Hurley, this will be his last year coaching in Tempe. Take Texas Tech minus 7.5. And then a home slight dog, Central Florida, Golden Knights. They pulled off a few quality wins at home in Orlando. We like them plus the 1.5 at home against TCU. And I have an add-on for you.
Okay.
The last undefeated team in college basketball. You know who it is? Who's that?
That was Arizona loss. Who is it?
Miami of Ohio. Ohio. They are 3.5-point favorites on the road against UMass. UMass led most of the game. They got beat in overtime in the game in Miami, Ohio. Now they're at home here. I think the last undefeated goes down tonight. Take the Minutemen plus the points at home against Miami.
We like a little sprinkle on the money line?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
1
Let me tell you
minute
what you
remaining.
do. A little SMU UMass money line parlay. What's that say?
Let's see. Add SMU. SMU plus 160. It comes back at plus 550.
Plus 4. There you go.
All right.
550. 55.
All right. I'm in.
Let's go.
Done.
Let's go.
Look at that. Love
Roca
that number.
Pizzeria tomorrow on Government Street. King Sucrose will be back.
Thank you, Otter. Have a great night.
Good luck.
We'll see you. All right, it's after further review. We're getting out of here. Hey, remember, not too late to register for the $25,000 giveaway. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com. We're giving away $25,000 cash. Sign up for a roof inspection. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com. Muse Pauly, thanks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Getting on down the road, we remind you about Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar. Of course, we've been able to tell you for so long now about the phenomenal NIL deals that Our Lady of the Lake has done with LSU athletes across all sports, not just football. Right now, of course, from basketball season for both the men and the women, taking care of Flaugier and Michaela Williams and Jada Richard and the great players on the LSU women's team that are pushing toward hopefully another Final Four berth. But we're getting geared up now with baseball and softball season as well. And there is going to be a conveyor belt of phenomenal LSU baseball and softball players we'll be able to tell you about as championship health partners there with Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Tell you all the time, when it comes to your health, there's two things we all want: access and convenience. FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, provides that every single day. So learn more at olrmc.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.